Okay, and we're live. Give me a second. Give people a little time to possibly join us. We're live now. Yep, we're live.
Excuse me.
I know you probably had a long day, so thank you so much
I
for.
yeah. I volunteered doing intake for immigrants applying for asylum this morning. So
Okay, and thank you for taking time to join us today after your work shift. So, give a second, and
if you think you're having a bad day, you should hear what life is like in Ecuador.
no, I have no complaints at all.
Good, good. That's great.
Okay. Give a few seconds. People are joining
I see
now.
from your lovely smile you're an upbeat person.
I try to be. I feel like if I
Not
complain,
easy. Not
no
easy.
one's no one's
Some
listening
people
anyway.
are upbeat no matter what happens. Some people are miserable no matter what happens. I admire the upbeat people.
I would love to wait for everyone to jump on here, but we have to be considerate of Attorney Mark Cuker's time. And so, good evening, everyone. My name is Jaquanda Johnson. I am founder and publisher of Flint Beat, and welcome to the breakdown. This is a place where we dig into policies, decisions, and issues shaping our community. Tonight, we are joined by environmental litigation attorney Mark Cuker, who has been working closely with Flint residents on the Flint water crisis settlement. He's here to help clear up some confusion, address some misinformation, and explain what comes next for claimants. So, thank you everyone for joining us. And again, this is attorney Mark Cuker. Hi, Mark.
Hi, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk directly to people in Flint. I currently represent hundreds of Flint residents, but I'm not here to give them legal advice. If they want to talk to me, I can give you my contact information some before we get off. But I do want to clarify. I get a lot of questions about a lot of things going on. There's been tremendous confusion, a lot of misleading statements. So I'd like to clear things up as much as possible, just without giving legal advice. So, first of all, what is happening now? Okay, what is happening now affects only a relatively small group of people. There have been close to 26,000 approved claimants. That includes of about 13,000 children and about 13,000 adults. The only people being paid now are people who had property claims and only a property claim. That means if you have an approved property claim and an injury claim, you're not getting paid right now. Talk about when you're going to get paid. It's not now. They did the easiest stuff first. Easiest stuff is you have only one claim and it's a property claim, and you're the only person making the claim for that property. Sometimes two people are making claim for that property. The amount of the property claim is $1,000. That's it. It's a maximum of $1,000. If you got a letter saying your property claim is approved and you can collect the money, you get $1,000. Like I said, that's only about 7,000 out of close to 26,000 people, and it's only $1,000. To
So,
get that money, if you have an attorney, you should ask your attorney what you need to do to get that money. But there is a website, the Flint official Flint Water Payments.com. And can I screen share it at all? Is that
I don't
possible?
know if we can screen share because I hadn't troubleshoot that before.
Okay. Well,
But what I can do is make sure I put the website up for
yeah.
our audience so that
So
they can.
starting tomorrow, there's going to be a login. You can log into the website. If you've been approved for a payment and the payment is ready to be made, you have a login ID, which is a bunch of letters and numbers. You put that in. You then have to put in a password. The password is the last four numbers of your social security number. And then you get a screen and you have choice as to how you can get paid. You can get paid by Zelle, by PayPal, by Venmo, by direct deposit into your bank account. And basically, you click on those buttons, whatever is appropriate. I just had this training, and hopefully they will have a training video up on the website, which they should have done already, by the way. And then you put in your information. You'll have to put in your contact information first, your name, your email address, your phone number, and if you don't have an email address, put in somebody's email address. You won't be able to go any further without that. So put in a relative's email address, somebody you trust, or you can have your lawyer do it. Your lawyer can do all this for you.
Okay, so I have a couple questions about that. When you said you went through training, was it on a PC? Was it on a mobile device? How friendly is the site for individuals who may not have computers? They're navigating from a mobile device. How can they tap into this and make sure that they are compensated?
I asked that. So I just had this training on my desktop, right? I asked whether this could be done on a smartphone. The woman who set it up says it has smartphone functionality. Now, given that almost everything that, so this is what I was told. I can't vouch for it. I didn't try to do it on my phone. It's not up live yet. I think the special master's note has said that desktop computers will be available at Flint libraries that can be used. But I just don't know if this can be done on a phone or not. It didn't look to me real hard. In other words, if you've done Zelle on your phone or Venmo on your phone or done banking on your phone, if you're already used to doing that, it didn't look to me to be any different than using those systems. But till someone does it, we're not going to know for sure.
Right. Is there
And
any?
I'm going to tell you something else.
Mm-hmm.
If you run into problems, bitch. I mean, they need, these claims administrators are getting millions of dollars. All right, they can hear some complaints. Right, if things aren't working right, they need to be told about it. That's their job. So I don't know if the claims administrator is called Epic, and I don't know if on the trying to see contact us, verifying. I'm just looking on here.
Right.
Yeah,
Outside of the
there's a phone
library.
number. There's a phone number here on the website. There's an email address on the
And
website.
we'll provide that information for you all. I'll
Yeah.
post those things. But outside of the library, is there any other resource that people can tap into outside of an attorney and outside of the public library? Have you heard of
Not
anything
that I
like
know
that?
of.
Okay.
Not that I know of. I'm
Okay.
trying to look at the see what she said about. Let me just see what it says about the libraries specifically.
So, do we know that when people go to the site tomorrow, we know there's a fraction of the claimants that are can potentially receive dollars right now. So, when they go to this site starting tomorrow and they put in for their property claim, only property claims, how soon are they expected to receive payout?
Okay. So I'm told it varies. Depend if it's direct deposit to your bank account, it could take up to 3 days to show up. Zelle is the fastest, and that's just what they told me. Zelle is pretty fast, maybe within a day. But it does take some time to process. I don't, that's about all I can tell you. So it should, there is an option of picking up a check. They don't make it easy. It's hard to find that option on there. You don't like the idea of doing it. But if you click on that, I think the checks would be available at, I think it's 4813 Clio Road, which is a state building, and they'd be available there starting December 23rd.
So,
So
starting
that's
December 23rd, if you do not use a bank account, you could
or
potentially pick up a
Zelle
paper
or
check.
Venmo or PayPal. You would go pick up a check. If you are disabled, you can ask them to mail you a check. They really don't want to mail anything. They're very afraid of money getting stolen in the mail.
Did they have any conversations about Cash App? Because I know Cash App, you have bank account numbers just in case individuals don't have Zelle or they don't have a
They
regular
did
bank
not
account.
mention Cash App.
Okay. Okay. So we talked about what's going on tomorrow and who can potentially receive dollars based on property claims. When will the other claimants
Right.
be able to start putting themselves in
Right.
systems
Well,
to be able to
that's
pay them?
very important. So the only answer you're given is several weeks. Now that takes longer for various reasons. First of all, unlike the property claims, which are fixed at $1,000 each, the money for injuries, the money for children are floating claims, which is we don't know what they're going to be. It depends on the number of claims that are ultimately approved and the categories of those claims, because it all comes down to points, or what you might call shares. Depending on the severity of your injury or severity of your lead exposure, you get a larger portion, and it's all variable. And there's still a lot of claims which haven't reached a final decision. So that's going to take, I would say, 3 to 6 weeks based on what the special master said. And I want to talk about minors specifically because there's a lot of misunderstanding about that. The money for the child is money for the child. Okay. The money has to be used for the benefit of the child, and there are limits on the parent's ability to use that money. So, for instance, for starters, if the amount of money is greater than $5,000, the parent doesn't get all the money. The money has to go into trust for the child, and it can go into trust a couple of ways. It can just go into they're going to have a collective bank account, so all the funds can be invested together for the best return possible. If it's a lot of money, when I say a lot of money, let's say $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, something like that, you should consider what's called a structured settlement. What's a structured settlement? Structured settlement is something, a lot of people don't like the idea of their child suddenly getting $50,000 or more when he or she turns 18. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people have concerns their child may not be responsible in using the money if they just got a whole lot of money at the age of 18. A structured settlement provides for a payout over time, maybe $500 a month, maybe $1,000 a month, so that you eliminate or you minimize the danger the child will just blow all the money quickly. So once we find out what the amounts are, I know what I'm doing. Once I find out if these amounts are substantial and significant, I'm going to have a conversation with each client about the structured settlement option or some other kind of trust options to see if they make sense or not. But it's also important to know that in any event, the amounts above $5,000 have to go into a trust of some sort, and the parents cannot access that money. The money must be used for the benefit of the children.
So if it goes into a trust, there's a process of approval for parents to potentially tap into those dollars for the benefit of the child.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. But do we know, are they making decisions to pay out children before they do adults? Are they rolling children and adults out all together? Like, what does this look like?
All I know, if they're non-property claims, I don't know what the sequence is going to be. I haven't heard anything about that.
So we're
I
not
haven't heard it.
clear of when, and we don't know who.
Others, folks, I don't want to mislead you. The answer is several more weeks.
in
And just the dictionary definition of that would mean 3 to 6 more weeks. I think, I don't want to guess. I
No,
mean, I
yeah,
think there's less complexity to the adult claims, so
okay.
maybe they would come sooner, but I don't know enough to really say.
You said that there were some cases, some things that were still pending, that hadn't been approved. Do we know about how many cases are still out there that we're waiting for?
I can tell you that my firm probably, we had hearings on about 90 cases. We had at least 90 hearings. And I think there is still more than 30 where we don't have a decision yet, even though the hearings were many months ago. So that's me. And, I probably represent 1 to 2% of all the cases.
So,
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
right.
Maybe she's saving mine for the end. I don't know. But
So can these other cases that, like after the property claims and how they roll out these other claims, can they be processed prior to these other cases being taken care of?
no, because they won't know what the amount's going to be until they know what all of the claims are.
So,
So picture this. Um, let's say I have a claim and I get 1 share, and you have a claim and you get half a share. Okay. In order to know how much we get, and let's say the pool is $90 million. Okay. So the adult pool was originally $90 million. I'll know what it is with interest. In order to know how much I'm going to get, we know how many shares there are. So if there's 90,000 shares, then 1 share is worth 1,000, means I get 1,000, you get 500. Well, I don't know how many shares there are going to be. I'll know there's going to be 10,000 shares or 50,000 shares. All I know is that there's 13,000 approved adults. I don't know how many are approved for injury claims or what, or for business claims or what. So they have to do that math to figure out what you get, and they can't figure it out. So let's say I get a share, you get half a share, but the person sitting in the other room, we don't know if he's getting a share or not, or she's getting a share or not. And until we know whether she's getting a share or not, we don't know how many shares we need to divide into the 90 million. You follow me?
yes, are there any deadlines for them to have these other claims taken care of? Do we have any dates for that? So even though we say,
All I know is she said several more weeks.
okay, so it's so it says several weeks until we know about these other claims, or several weeks before they start moving the needle. But
Okay,
now,
what I take that to mean, okay, and just Arthur, Arthur, what I assume is not the law by any means. Okay,
right?
that means letters will start to go out. Award letters will start to go out in several more weeks.
Okay,
And as people will then get a letter, which will give them their login and give them their information of what the amount is. And then when they do this process of logging in and stuff, they'll probably have to electronically sign another piece of paper saying they accept this amount as settlement in full.
so when you say award letters, is this by email? Is it by regular mail? Like, do we know?
Well, I get an email. Actually, it's not even that simple. I get a notice that there's letters available in my share file folder. And then my paralegal has to go on and log into the share file folder and retrieve the letters. I don't know how they're notifying individuals. I only know how they're notifying attorneys. So I would think they're emailing it to the individual people who made claims without lawyers. I'm assuming they email it to them. And that's how they get it.
Yeah,
I don't. They're not. I mean, they're not. They would not send that through the snail mail. I don't think. I
okay.
think they have real concerns about
So,
information getting stolen.
good evening, everyone. I know some people are just now joining us. We are here having a conversation about the water crisis settlement with environmental litigation attorney Mark Cuker. He cannot give out any like specific legal advice, but we're having a general conversation, letting people know where the water crisis settlement is now. We're hoping to clear up misinformation. We're hoping to better inform you so you can move forward. he has told us that tomorrow only property claims will start being processed. Tomorrow. That's about 7,000 people out of Mr. Cooper. How many claimants do
Close
we
to
have?
26,000 have been approved claimants.
Right. So about 7,000 out of 26,000 starting tomorrow in only property claims. You can ask questions, but I can't promise answers depending on the question. May I ask for the claims handled by virtual review by human administrator? Who handled the claims? Do you know, Mr. Cooper? Like, what was the process? How were claims handled and reviewed?
There's a claims administrator. There were actually several claims administrators. The first one was incompetent and had to be fired. That's one reason this took so many years. There were many screw ups with data and getting things wrong. The current claims administrator is a company called Epic. I think it's spelled EPIQ. I think they're headquartered in Texas.
How did they
They're
decide?
very, I mean, I met the lady, she gave the training session to me earlier today. Very pleasant, nice lady.
How did they decide how much? Like, how did they decide the property claims would be $1,000? Like these different pockets of money. How
That
did
was
that come to play?
the settlement agreement. And for the record, I objected to the settlement. I thought it was unfair. I'm the only lawyer who was involved in the Flint litigation at the time of the settlement who objected to it. Some other outside lawyers came in. I thought a lot of it was unfair. And the judge ruled against me. And the Court of Appeals affirmed the judge. So all of these provisions that you don't like were in the settlement that was negotiated between other lawyers and the state of Michigan. That limited the property claims to $1,000 each maximum. That also provided that these other numbers will all be floating numbers, so that you wouldn't know what you get until everybody's claim was approved. And you knew what categories there were and how many shares there were. All
So,
of that was part of the settlement that was negotiated and announced way back around August 22nd of 2020, I believe.
so what's the total amount? The total amount of the settlement.
My recollection was it was between the state of Michigan and the city of Flint was 621 million. And I think a couple of other companies have come in and added some money to that. But I don't think that's being distributed at all at this point. I think that's going to wait for a second distribution.
So with
So
that,
it's
what
21 million plus whatever interest that's accrued, less they have had expenses they've
that,
paid out.
that's what I wanted to talk about, the expenses. And so people have a idea that when they see this dollar, it'll be distributed to the impacted, right? The claimants. But there were a ton of fees involved. We had lawyer fees, administrative costs. What percentages did we get hit with lawyer costs or lawyer fees? What percentage did we get hit with administrative costs?
The $1,000 is net of all the costs and fees. Okay. The lawyer's fees were approved by the court at 31.66%. And which I have not seen a penny, by the way. Although the other lawyers got $40 million 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I don't know what the total administrative costs are. I know it's in the millions.
Okay.
Whether it's 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, it's absolutely in the millions.
So millions of dollars are going to
Have gone,
have gone.
and will continue to go. If you are in such a mood, all their court orders on the court website that every time money is paid out of the settlement for these fees, there's a court order that gives the amount. I haven't kept track of it.
What if a person is deceased? How would a claimant that has now passed since this started, how would their family receive funds?
Shaking my head because I just found out a client died. So, and I remember people saying, when they're waiting for us to die before they pay the money. All right. First of all, you need a death certificate. Okay. Then there's a form of affidavit you can sign. They've done what they can to streamline this process. You don't have to go to probate court. You don't have to take out an estate. There's a form of affidavit that needs to be signed. The affidavits of decedent successor. It may be on this website, it may not. I certainly have the form. Any lawyer involved in the case should have the form. And basically, so one of the next of kin needs to submit that with an affidavit. And then the next of kin needs to promise to distribute the money in accordance with the law. In other words, someone, let's say, dies without a will but has 3 children. The oldest, can't just take the $1,000. They have to divide it. So that's what they would be required to do.
You're
The
welcome.
lawyer may need to make sure that happens.
Okay, we have another question here. Upon getting settlements, how would they be taxed? Like, how would taxes be?
Tax-free.
Tax-free. So can it
That's some
tax-
good news.
That's
You
that's some good news. We don't know when you'll get it. We don't know how much it'll be, but we do know that it'll be tax-free.
Uncle Sam doesn't get anything.
So that's some good news. Yeah. Again, if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. I can see them. We can't give individual legal advice, but we can talk about general things that Mr. Cooper knows about the water crisis settlement. Um, what advice can you give residents? Like, how can they keep up with what's going on? Where do they need to look in order to make sure that they're positioned and they're getting the right
Well,
information?
the website, I looked at it for the first time. It's really pretty good. It has every question. It has a lot of questions. It has a lot of answers. Again, you may not like the answers, but it's got a lot of answers. So I think the official FlintWaterPayments.com website, there's 24 questions on here. Let me look at the last one. Will there be updates? Yes, official updates will be provided through this website. So I guess you would just go on the website. And let me just see if they had a news tab.
And again, we'll put links up. I don't have them readily available, but we'll put links up so people can get information and visit the sites and resources that Mr. Cooker is referencing. Just make sure you have them. He did go over some things today to make sure that it was as much information as possible. And so we'll make sure you get those things after we wrap up the conversation tonight. You can, again, ask some questions, but they're general, no independent legal advice. You can't do that right now. So continue to ask questions before we wrap up the discussion.
Yeah, Jaquanda, I would suggest, if you're interested, you may be a claimant for all I know. So it's really written pretty well. It's in plain English. So I think they did a pretty good job with this. And like I said, they have 24 questions, which they answer.
Is there any way you can find out if you submitted documents, right? And you haven't been keeping up with this, and now you're like, hey, hold on, wait a minute. There's a water crisis settlement. I haven't gotten anything. How can you check to see if you might have been missing something, or is it too late? Is the question.
I'm going to look at that one here. Okay. That's not good because I clicked on question number 6, and when I clicked on it, they had a different question. So I guess I spoke a little too soon when I said it was a good website, right?
What was question 6?
Question 6 is supposed to be what is required for claim approval, but when I click on it, it is what is the amount for payment of residential property claims. So
okay,
two different things.
So we don't have an answer for that one.
Okay, I would suggest they have an 800 number, 888-893-7470. I would suggest people call that number. If they do not have a lawyer, call that number and ask about the status of their claim. If
Okay.
they do have a lawyer, call your lawyer. That's what your lawyer is getting paid for.
Okay. Oh, I do have a question. Do we know how many categories are in the settlement?
30, I believe.
30 categories.
So just to break it down a little, I think 21 for children, and I think the rest are for adults.
So 21 categories for children and about 9 for adults.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that actually being more, may even be more than 21 for children.
Okay, do you all have any? Oh, it says, where is it? Smallest class first. So, I don't, Kenneth, I'm going to try to word this the right way. I'm going to read it exactly as you wrote it. He says, Attorney Cooker, is it your opinion the smallest classes will be paid smallest class first? Does that make?
Well, the $1,000 claims are being paid first, and those are generally the smallest claims.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm going to correct myself. There's 29 categories. No, 30. I'm right. There were
okay.
30.
So, Kenneth, does that answer your question? He's basically, so tomorrow kicks off $1,000. And so that's probably around the smallest claim out there, the $1,000 property
Yeah,
claim.
and the reason they're doing it though, it's 1,000 period. It's not up to 1,000. It's 1,000. Everybody's getting 1,000, whereas the others, it's a complicated mathematical formula they got to go through,
So
figure
if
out
you
what
put in a
people.
property claim, no matter if the damage was $300 or $20,000, it's still $1,000.
Which was one of the objections we made at the time, that the people ought to get their water bills back, and that didn't happen. So it's a flat $1,000 no matter what.
So what if you turn in paperwork, you call the number, and they do not have a record of you or an address?
You're probably out of luck. I mean,
Is there a
unless you
way?
can show you submitted a claim
That's what I'm
within
saying.
the
Is there a
time.
way that
The
someone can
deadline
submit?
for submitting claims was like June 30th, 2022. And they did extend the time for some people, but they're not extending it by 3 years. Claims deadline was June 30th, 2022, the original deadline. At that point, we had to submit all the documentation that was required. Now, sometimes, you know, we bought people some time because if we submitted something and not everything, they'd say, you're denied, but we'll give you another 60 days to submit it. And that's the process we went through. But now it's really late. So,
So we know that tomorrow's group is the easiest. It's just because it's one claim, it's $1,000. After that, it's not based off sides, but we don't quite know what the process is. Is that
yeah, yeah, that is exactly right. And let me be clear. And it's only people who have a property claim and no other claim. So let's say
tomorrow?
you had a high lead level and a property claim, and both claims were approved. Not going to pay either one yet because they don't know how much the second one is. And I'm thinking I don't know this, but I think they say, look, we don't want this person to have to log in twice and pay it twice. So, get paid now for one claim, then get paid later for another claim. We want to do it all at once. So they're going to make it so they do it all at once.
Is there something that tells us what the maximum payout could potentially be for an individual?
The special master's report said the maximum payout is going to be for children who were under 6 years old when they were exposed to flint lead and who had the highest lead levels. Okay, it's a very relatively small group of children. Okay, only children under 6 with lead levels of 10 or higher. Blood lead levels of 10 or higher, right? That group may get as much as $100,000. So the
So
special master her report indicated that if I'm going to really be safe, I probably want to look at her exact words, or she'll kill me. She's actually really pretty nice person. I don't want to. Okay. So, maybe in the range, the highest awards may be in the range of approximately $100,000.
So we're looking at as low as 100,000
the high end.
and as high as 100,000.
Yeah, in the range of approximately $100,000.
Okay.
But that's, again, only children who are under 6, only if they had a blood lead level of 10 or higher.
Had they taken into consideration like some of the mishaps and for lack of a better word, like how some people have messed up as we navigate the water crisis settlement?
You mean in terms of getting their claims information in?
Yeah.
Well, basically what happened was, I can just tell you what my experience was.
Like the Archer system, for example. Like,
oh, they were the ones who were fired.
Yeah. So have we really taken into consideration that as they navigated this process? Or did they just
what
keep
sort of
going?
consideration would you like them to take as a result of that?
I'm
Really
asking
consider.
I'm asking a question for
okay,
Kenneth.
here's the thing.
That's the answer, Kenneth.
Here's
probably no.
I will tell you what my experience was. Where we had problems, we asked for a hearing. All the hearings were done by Zoom. The special master was very patient, was very courteous, and really gave people every opportunity possible to try to prove their claims, even if it had been rejected by Archer. That's all I can tell you. And you know, the fact that it's taken so long, the bright side of that is the money's collected interest.
Bob Parker, I see your question. You say, how do we find out how much kids that are in the claim will get? We don't know yet.
We won't know until they won't know until they've gone through and approved or denied every single last claim. And I know, like I said, I've got at least 30 pending. I don't know how many the other lawyers got. I only represent 1 to 2% of everybody. So I don't know if that means there's 3,000 pending, 300. I know I've got at least 30. So there's still quite a few pending. I'm getting decisions almost every day. So that number is less and less every day. I know they're working very hard to get that done. But I certainly share everybody's extreme frustration that after 5 years, they still don't know what they're getting.
Okay, Mr. Cuker, is there anything else you would like the residents to know before we wrap up?
I just want them to know that I can tell you that I and my staff are working as hard as we can. And what's really important is if you haven't heard from, if you have a lawyer, you haven't heard from your lawyer in a while, please contact your lawyer. I know we've had a lot of issues with people who change phones, change phone numbers, change emails. I've had hundreds of people I lost track of, hundreds and hundreds of people I've lost track of, and could not, submit their claims fully because of that. So please make sure that your attorneys are up to date on where you are and how to reach you. It's, because we just can't do anything without that.
And if someone doesn't have an attorney, are you still taking more clients or no?
No, the class action lawyers, the attorneys for the class action, Cohen Milstein and Pitt McGee, that's who you should go to. They are supposed to handle the people who are not individually represented.
Okay. And also, one last question. Is there a maximum amount for adults?
The reason I'm hemming and hawing here.
Yeah.
Okay. You think you would think there'd be a yes or no answer, wouldn't you?
Not.
People are saying this lawyer can't give people a goddamn straight answer. He's bullshitting like all the others, giving us the runaround. Okay. this is why I'm hemming and hawing. All right. There's a provision in the settlement that says that I'm trying to find I'm trying to find the exact words here. Basically, they don't want any adult to get more than a child in the same category. So there is a maximum, but we don't know what we don't know what it is
Okay.
because we don't know what the maximum is going to be for the children.
Okay. So in
So that's
adults
a
can't
pretty
get more
much
than
useless
children.
answer. I just wanted to be accurate. There is a maximum, but
Okay.
that's
I, I don't want to ignore Bob Parker's last question, and I think I have an answer though. It says that they had two daughters. Both daughters were born at 29 to 27 weeks early. Like, what if because of the crisis, someone delivered early? Um, I know
I do
medical leave
not
had to be turned in.
recall whether that was an approved injury or not.
Okay.
I just don't recall. It may have been. I know miscarriages were, but these were live births.
29 and 27 weeks.
Uh, I just don't know.
Okay. Sorry about that. We don't have an answer for that. Again, I'm going to put in the I'm going to post all the resources after we wrap up the discussion. So if you need to know those are the attorney's information that he just referenced, I'll make sure I put that in there. I'll put the link also so people can go to the Q&A or the fact sheet that Mr. Cuker is looking at right now. And so
Hmm.
we'll do all that. I want to say thank you all for joining us. I tried to just clear up as much information as possible. I'm considering there was misinformation. People were confused. You could continue to ask questions in the chat. If we have answers, maybe we may answer. We'll try the best we can, or we try to figure it out for you the best we can as a news organization. I just felt us jumping on here, having this discussion was the easiest way to maybe answer some of your questions and clear up misinformation. Again,
Hey, Jaquanda, don't listen. I'm going to be very busy, but listen, if you collect a bunch of questions and you get a hold of me tomorrow or next week, I'll make myself available as a resource
you
to help
guys
you.
hear that? And so Mr. Cooker said, hey, if you give me some questions tonight and I could get them to him by tomorrow or so, he'll try to answer them as best he can, given that he is very busy. So again, thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Cooker, for jumping on
Thank you for
here.
having me, and
Yeah,
appreciate what you're doing for the people of Flint.
yeah, thank you for making the time. Everyone, have a wonderful night. We've taken up enough of his time. And if you have any questions, don't forget to drop them in the chat, and I will drop the resources in there so you all can get that information. Have a wonderful night. Thank you,
Great.
everyone. Bye bye.